Well, a quick little bit of lathe work and we have a new threaded bush for the whistle, which I've just soldered in place there. So now the boiler is pretty much complete. What I need to do now is get on and clean it and all the rest of the parts, and then we can move on to the next thing, which is making the heater. Lots of fun. Well, a fair bit of progress with the Bing Wharf engine. I've got everything cleaned up. And as I said, I just repainted the very top surface here. I haven't touched any of the other paintwork. This was really bad. It was quite rusty and quite a lot of paint loss. So that's been repainted and looks a lot better. And also that will protect the top of the frame there. But yeah, it's all cleaned up nicely. The boiler has had a pretty hard life. There's dents all over it. Basically, I don't know why, but it's it's been dented quite badly in places. Fortunately, once you polish it up, the dents are less obvious, so that's quite nice. But it cleaned up okay. So what's left to do? Really, there's not a lot. It's pretty much ready to go back together. I need to make another boiler strap because if you remember, there was only that one. So I'll probably cut that out of thin stainless to make that strap. But then, yeah, they're pretty much ready to go back together. But I can't do that yet because the next major job is to make a heater for it. And for that, I really need everything off of the firebox and the frame, the base frame, so that I can get in there and do some work. So that's what we're going to be doing next. So, the heater. Well, my plan for the heater is two parts basically. This is a piece of firebrick which I've cut to fit into the firebox, and this is a coiled wire heating element. This is rated at 800 watts, 220 volts. Now I'm only going to be running on 110 volts, which should give us roughly 400 watts, which is more or less what these heaters were rated at, around that sort of area. So that's the plan. So fits up inside like that. This cut out here is for the connector. Obviously there'll be two pins sticking out the end there, but that's the plan there. And the idea now is to cut a slot in this, which is going to snake around the firebrick, and that will sit in the slot. This is roughly 1/4 inch in diameter, so I use a 1/4 inch end mill and mill out a slot in here to take the heating element, and then probably at this end I'll put some bolts through which attach to each end of the element, and then they will come out the bottom here and they will be the connections for the power. Well, that's the theory. Let's see if it'll work. So we've got it set up on the mill. I've got a rough guidelines drawn on here, so I know roughly where I'm going, but I'm going to do it freehand. Obviously got a 1/4 inch end mill in the mill, and we're going to got a power feed on. We're going to have a go at getting this done. Well, obviously the firebrick is very soft, so this, it's not any effort for the mill whatsoever. So anyway, I'll crack on with that and bring you back when I'm done. Well, that worked out okay. I was quite pleased with that. Obviously this is very soft, no problem for the mill to go through whatsoever. What I've got to do now is drill a couple of holes, one there and one there. They will be the contact points, put bolts through to the other side, and then got to wire up a connector for it. But yeah, I think you get the idea. I think that's going to work out okay. Well, run into a little bit of a snag with the heater. Not really surprising, I suppose. The heating element wire I bought from eBay was supposed to be rated at 800 watts at 220 volts. Well, unfortunately, it's nothing like that. The resistance of the heating element should have been around about 60 ohms, but it was much higher than that. And even though I actually had to shorten it by about 6 inches to get it into my block here, the resistance of the heating element is about 85 ohms. The problem with that is that will give us about 560 watts at 220 volts, which is too much, really. We only, as I said, we're really looking for 400 watts. So I've done some maths, and I reckon 400 watts with that resistance, you're looking at about 185 volts. So I think this is the first time anyone on my channel will have seen this. This beast, and I absolutely love this bit of kit, is my Variac. Now, Variacs are quite an old bit of kit now, but they are immensely useful. This is a big one. This is rated at 6 amps, so this will go from 0 to 230 volts. So I can adjust the voltage on this. Very, very useful. I've had a few chargers in my time that were 115 volt chargers, not 230, which is what our mains is over here. So this has been useful for that. So I've got this set to 110, and I'll power it up in a minute. And this fluke here is measuring the current. Now I reckon that to get 400 watts we need about 185 volts, so it'll be about 2 amps. So you know, this is more than capable of handling it. So let's power it up. So I've got it set to 110 volts, and as you can see, we're drawing 1.3 amps. That's quite low wattage wise, but yeah, it's giving off heat, which is what I'd expect it to do. I'm going to change the camera angle, so I've got a digital voltmeter on the back of my Variac, so I can accurately see what the voltage is. Okay, so we're at 1.3 amps, 111 volts. Now, as I increase the voltage, so the current will go up. We need to get up to about 2 amps before we're at, 400 watts. So here we go. Like I said, I reckon it was probably about 185 volts will give us the 400 watts. So that's 150. Let's swivel this round so you can see there. There's quite a lot of heat coming off of this at the moment, but it's not exactly glowing or anything. I'd expect it to glow a dull red when we get up to the right wattage. Let's go back. There we go. Right, that should be around about 400 watts. Let's go and have a look at the heating element. Right, I'm going to turn the lights down so hopefully you'll be able to see the glow. There you go, that's what I'd expect, and we're getting loads of heat. That should be more than enough to, it's actually glowing brighter than the camera is showing it, but that should be more than enough to heat the water in the boiler. So that's working fine. I'm gonna bring it back down again. As you see, it will start to dim. We're down at about 135 volts now. Yeah, that's back down to, that's 110. So I'll turn the lights back on. A successful test of the heating element, but it just means I'm going to have to run it off the Variac when I've got it in the steam engine. But no, the important thing is it's working.